Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. And today we have a special guest. We have Lauren Jean, who is a mom with a focus on helping female entrepreneurs finally get their podcast started. With a full-time job, a kid, a business, 2 podcasts, she focuses on making life simple while having time to do other things in life, such as sleep. So let's get a warm welcome to Lauren. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. This is exciting.
Oh, sure, definitely. So, it sounds like you have a lot on your plate. Like if you were someone juggling that, you'd be juggling a lot and people would just be all like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. How do you do it? So tell us a little bit about everything that you do.
Okay. Well, like you said in the intro, I do all of that stuff. And the key for me is to keep things simple, keep things very, very, very simple, because these are all things that I absolutely love and I cannot do without. So, as a mom who works full time and has 2 shows and a business, it's really important to keep things as simple as you possibly can. And that is specifically including the 2 podcasts that I have. So that's kind of where I am in life. I can't let those go because they are so important. They light me up inside and it's just exciting. So I really simplify the rest of my life and I make decisions based on how I want to feel. And that's really the root of it. I want to feel good, I want to be simple, and I want to have fun.
That's definitely the most important thing. You have to have fun in life. Otherwise, what's the purpose of doing anything if you're like, well, this is miserable, but I must keep doing it?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I have done that before, and that's how I got to where I am today. I had to make many, many, many mistakes, be miserable, ups and downs, and just ripping my hair out of my head to figure out how I could make this simple. And, I'm still working on it. And every day I get rid of some extra crap I don't need in my life.
So you're doing the life cleanse then, not just a dietary cleanse, but a life cleanse.
It's life, because life, it just filters into everything. It doesn't matter what part of your life it is, but it is life. So yeah.
Right. It makes it a world of a difference. So
Yeah.
when I looked at your website, you have this mixture of personal development, life coaching, podcasting. How did you come across defining that this is what you wanted to do on top of everything else?
Well, I had started off doing nothing, right? So my daughter was very young. She was 5. She was entering kindergarten. And I felt myself kind of lost, upset. I was crying because I lost her. She was going to kindergarten. School was taking my baby away. So I had gone home and I was medicating myself with Facebook. And I found an ad for IIN, which is the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So long story short, I enrolled in that. When I came out of that, I found that I just wasn't into nutrition the way I thought I was. I was more into self-development. And through this entire journey, I was trying to figure out a platform that I could use to share my story, to use as a therapy for myself so that I can really dig deep into the layers of my life and what really made me happy, what I really wanted to do. Because underneath all of that, I wanted to be with my daughter as much as I possibly could and teach her the ropes of being happy in life rather than living her life on someone else's terms. So I had started there. When I got out of IIN, like I said, it wasn't my thing. And I had always heard of podcasting. I am a talker, if you can't tell. I love to talk. I love, not at all. Not at all. I love to talk. I love to speak. But at the same time, I'm an introvert. So I was terrified to get onto a stage and talk, right? I would just freeze. So podcasting seemed like a perfect place for me because I just love to get on the mic and talk. And I seemed to stay consistent with that for a very long time up until now. So it's the thing that has kept me the most consistent through all of my changes in life and through all the challenges and through all the wins and everything. So I found podcasting to be my thing. And I went through the whole health coaching thing and the self-development thing, which I'm still super passionate about. And I have my own show on that. And I stick with that because I love it. And it, like I said, it's my therapy. I get it out. People listen to it and I get lots of great feedback. So I stuck with that. But as I was going through that, I had a lot of people asking me about how am I doing this? You know, how did you start podcasting? And a lot of these people were friends of mine who are within the health coaching community and now mostly female entrepreneur groups on Facebook, because that's where I hang out. I love that stuff. So it hit me one day. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I love to do. I love to speak. I love to teach. I love to lead. So putting those three things together and being able to help women start their own podcast made me feel absolutely amazing. Because when you're using your voice, and you know this being a podcaster yourself, you can really put the emotion in what you're saying and people can understand it. They can get it. They can feel it. And like I said, I'm all about the feelings. I want to help people feel amazing. I want to help them feel accomplished. I want to help them feel like they are spreading their voice through podcasting, getting their message out there. So that's what really led me into this kind of new journey of teaching people to podcast the simple way. So I just kind of jumped into it. It wasn't something I planned. It was just something that kind of fell into my lap because there were people asking me, how do you do this? How do you do this? And it's not like I had the extra time to stop and talk to every single person. It's just impossible. So I had started a group and people were just kind of entering it organically. And I not only started this, like looking into teaching podcasting, I'm going to say, I think it was May of last year, 2015. And it was my first thing that I really jumped into teaching. So was really taking my time with it because I had never created a program before. I did some one-on-one coaching, but not in this area specifically. So what I did was I started to break down what I did the simple way, because the way I started was just reaching out to another podcaster, and she had helped me get to a certain point, but then I had to figure out all of the rest on my own. So me being very simplistic, I wanted to just get it done. Most people want to just get it done. They don't want all the other things in between. They just want to get it going, and then once they're going, then they can sort of tweak it and change it and see what works for them particularly. So I think I've gone off the deep end here, but that's basically how I got to where I am and why I'm doing this. And plus it makes me feel really good. And my daughter knows I do the show and she loves it too. And she's just like, Mommy's on the radio? I'm like, not really the radio. It's a little different, but she gets the idea and she loves the idea too. So that was an inspiration to me for her to understand that I'm doing the show and she can hear my voice when I'm not, like, if I'm right there with her, she can listen to my voice and she's just amazed at it. So that's really my inspiration behind it as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Just from thinking about the whole process to be able to help people get that clarity that they need to make this work, it's a great thing.
Yes, it is. And it's really important to keep people on track so they stay excited.
Oh, totally, because it's so easy to get discouraged and off track because things don't go the way that you're planning on them to go.
Yes, never.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a person who said, I'm launching a podcast and everything went according to plan. Like, okay, step A, check, step B, check. It's like, step A, check, step B. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, yep. I went through that stuff myself too. Yes. I get it.
So there's always those things there. So obviously you have this passion for helping people podcasting, no pun intended there. But what was it that made you decide to create a Facebook group and really amp things up to help people? Because when you look around, there's people, a few people here and there teaching others how to podcast. What made you decide that you wanted to do it yourself?
I am very much a loner. I'm an introvert and I don't work well with others in programs. I've tried different types of businesses in the past because I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I've tried, the MLMs, all different things on products that I absolutely love. But when it came to working on a team with like a giant team, just wasn't my thing. I tried it. I'm like, I love this idea, I love this product, but why on earth can't I get myself excited? And I know it's because it was not my own. I'm a very creative person. I've got a background in art. I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City with an art degree. And I like that freedom of being able to create my own thing. Doesn't matter what it is. I just like to be able to create. And let me back up a little, because when I had started the group, I had connected with another podcaster and we started working together, and it just wasn't working the way we wanted to. And we were both fine with that. We ended on great terms. So for a good 6 months, me and another podcaster were working together to make this happen, but it just wasn't working out. We had two different ideas. We had two different personalities. So when she decided she didn't want to do it anymore, I was kind of felt like I was freed in a way. And at the same time, it felt like a business breakup. It was like a breakup in I felt like, oh my God, I lost her. So that kind of pushed me forward to then make it my own, because that's just how I work. And the whole reason for the Facebook group is because I love to lead people. I love to teach people, and it excites me to see them grow. And I like to have a place where I can collect everyone and everyone can share their ideas, and they can share their shows, they can share their experiences, everything. I like to just have it in one nice, neat little place. Again, simple, right? I like to keep it simple. So by getting everyone in a group, that was my way of where I could share everything. And I really love it. I really love the way it's flourishing, and it's growing slowly over time. And that's just perfect for me. I love the speed that it's going.
Oh, that's excellent. Is you have to grow things in a way that's consistent with who you are, so it fits you, versus it grows too fast and then you're that awkward person. It's kind of like, I don't know, wearing stilts for the first time. It doesn't go well.
No, it does not. And again, since I'm still working full time, having the group grow small, I should say grow slowly over time, is perfect for me, because I can still keep up with what everyone is saying and I can still be there for everyone. And it's just working out very, very well. I'm very happy.
Oh, excellent. So, as you're helping people with podcasting, what's some of the most common problems that you see where people get stuck, like, and then just insert whatever explicative you want there? But where are they getting stuck?
A lot of the times, they're just saying, they're coming into the group and the first thing they're saying is, I want to start a podcast, but I have no idea where to start. That's the biggest thing. They want to do it, but they have no clue on how to start, because a lot of these people are bloggers who are solely writing. So they don't even know what to use to record. They don't know the microphone that they should get. They don't know recording software at all. They know nothing. So that's mostly the biggest concern of people. I want to start a podcast. I don't know what the heck to do. I don't know how to start this. I mean, normally when you're starting something, you might have a clue on the first step, but people don't even know that. So it's really basic things that they need to know, and it's something that's so simple that they could do, because really, as a podcaster, and you know this, the first thing you need to do is to just start playing, start recording. But they don't know this because it's not something that's in their realm of experience. They just have no clue. That is the number one thing.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's something that people have to just dive in. It's like riding a bike. You can read about it all you want, but until you put your butt on a bike seat, you're not going to get it.
No, totally not. But then think about it, because they don't know microphones, they don't know editing software. So it's a scary thing when you first start. It's a really scary thing. I didn't know what I was doing. I just shared my very first podcast episode with my group. I think it was a week ago or so. And, go back and listen to your first show. You really didn't know what you were doing. It was kind of just like having fun, experimenting. It was exciting to see it go out, but you're now listening to the old show and you're like, oh my goodness, did I really sound like that?
Right. I think everyone goes to that phase when you first do something, you look back and wonder, oh my gosh, I did that? Or if you're in sales, you're wondering, how did I eat? Because I sounded horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
As there's always those little nuances that you have to go through in that growth process.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth in podcasting. Absolutely. There's a lot of growth in anything in life, really. But yeah, growth is number one. And I feel like I'm learning something every day, like us recording on this new platform that I've never used. And I love it. A growth.
Right. Growing is important. So when you look back at your journey from when you started podcasting to today, how would you say that you've grown? Because everyone does it differently.
Oh, yeah, everyone does it differently. I would say I have grown definitely in confidence. My confidence has skyrocketed because of this podcast, because I've been able to get my voice out there as an introvert, being behind a microphone and be able to talk as opposed to being out in a crowd and talking. It has really boosted my confidence, and I'm now excited. I actually want to get out there and speak now. Like, that's one of my goals. Probably not for this year, but maybe for next year, because I want to focus solely on getting people to podcast. But I eventually want to go and speak, and that's not something I would have ever agreed to, because I'm terrified of it. But now I'm terrified to a point where I'm excited at the same time. So my confidence is definitely number one, and that's something that I try to bring to people as they come to me. I want to tell them that a number one benefit is the confidence, because if you have confidence, then you can take that anywhere. That doesn't mean just speaking. That means anything in life. You're confident because of you being able to get your feelings and your emotions out during your shows. You can share your life. You can share your problems. You can share your ups and downs with your audience. You can share whatever the heck you want. And at the same time, maybe interviewing a guest that has great content. So it's really a win-win for me. And I really believe for a lot of people. So that, I would say, is definitely confidence.
Oh, yes. Confidence is a great thing because you realize that you're able to do things like, oh, that's right, I did do that. And it just gets easier and easier in terms of talking to people. You realize that you're having conversation with someone that you've never had to meet before necessarily. So you're able to grow in a variety of ways.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, think about how many times have you started something new that you're terrified, and then you get into it and you're like, oh, that's it? Like, okay, well, I need another challenge. So you're constantly looking for other ways to grow. And I really feel like this has helped me grow in so many ways. I can't even tell you how far I've come in this world in, almost 2 years now. I feel so different than I did 2 years ago, like scared, hiding. I want to get out there and just take over the world.
Take over the world. It sounds like it's something you hear on a cartoon, like, yes, we're going to take over the world. Like, and just put the little evil scientist laugh in there. Like,
yes, like in Austin Powers.
Right. Like, yes, we will point the laser at the moon.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe not that extreme, but yeah, that's funny.
Right. Well, you have a mini-me, so you're mostly there.
I do have a mini-me. She looks just like me. I love it.
Like, let's see. All you need now is a hairless cat.
Yes.
And you're pretty much set for being the evil villain out of Austin Powers.
What about a hairless dog? I'm not so much a cat person.
I don't think it has the same effect because like the hairless dog would just be happy-go-lucky versus that the cat looking like gets plotting against you the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Cats are a little more sneaky than dogs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was it's like a little side note when you think about it. There was this great post I saw ages ago where it was talking about like the description of a day comparing between a dog and a cat. A dog is like, woke up, best day ever, had breakfast, best day ever. And it was the whole thing like that was like best day ever. The cat was like day 937 of my captivity. Just totally different.
Yeah.
But it's always about how do you position yourself. So when you're looking at your podcast because you've done it, what have you know, obviously people they're working with you, they're getting things started, they're getting over those hurdles. But then what are some of those best practices for people to start gaining listeners? Because there's some people that are like, great, I produced it. Now what? And then they're stuck
Yeah.
again.
That's a big thing. And that is something that I had not included in the beta program that I ran over the summer. And I had one of my girls tell me that she's like, this is super important. Why don't you add this in? So launching is something I added into the very beginning of the program. So when we're working together, before we even start, I give you, like, I'll send you an email, a PDF of everything that you can do, different options, because everyone's different, everyone's got a different amount of time, but things that you can do to start launch your show. Because what I did was, before I did even a recording, I knew I wanted to do this, and I did not want to bank out. This was my thing. I announced to Facebook, wherever I was on that point, I think it was just Facebook at that time, I announced to everyone that I was going to do a podcast, and then I was like, oh crap, now I got to do it.
Right.
Right?
That pressure.
So, yeah, the pressure. But for me, it's great because I like to challenge myself. I'm more of challenging myself rather than being in a challenge with other people.
Right.
But so I put that out there. I documented every step of the way. I took photos of what I was recording. I shared the artwork that I created. I shared everything. So every step of the way, I was sharing with my, at that point, just my Facebook personal profile for all my friends and family. So by the time my show came out, I had about, I think, 4 weeks, maybe a little bit less. It didn't take me that long. I had all that stuff up saying that I was going to do a podcast, and everything was documented. I even documented when I submitted to iTunes. I documented that I got a call, not a call back, but an email back from iTunes. It was accepted. So boom, boom, boom. All of that stuff, all of that documentation I shared with everyone on Facebook to let them know that this was coming out. Another thing that I would have done, and like I said, I did this back when I didn't know what I was doing, but things that I recommend to people now are get yourself on a podcast to talk about what you do. Because you can share that you're having a podcast, but most people, of course, they're doing something else. So a lot of health coaches, a lot of self-development coaches, that along the lines of that. And usually mostly coaches, they can get themselves on a podcast just for that visibility. They can get themselves on a blog. They can offer to do live streams in other people's groups as an expert. You can do all of those kinds of things as long as you are being active as you are preparing a podcast. So it's all about launching, like you're launching a program. Same kind of idea, but it's constant. Share everything that you're doing at every moment with the people that you want to listen to your show. And getting yourself on other podcasts, to me, that's really one of the major things, because you are getting out to so many other people that you don't even know who they are. And that's super powerful for you to get your voice out there. Because again, voice, it's really powerful. You can connect with someone through the power of your voice. And that's what I love about it. So yeah, it's hard to get listeners and that type of thing if you haven't done anything. You don't want to just throw your show up and then expect people to listen. It's not going to happen. You'll get some, but not a whole lot. But if you're preparing people, the people that you love and care for, and maybe your immediate family, then you can ask them to then share that. You always want to ask them to share it. The guests that you have on, ask them to share it on their social media channels. Ask them to share it in their newsletters. Wherever that they're sharing their own content, you want to ask them to share their interview as well. So, I mean, those are just a bunch of ideas, but I think those are the major ones to really get you out there, because it's all about how you put yourself out there, really in any business. It doesn't matter if it's a podcast or not. Whatever you're doing, you want to share the heck out of it. And even if you have the funds, you can hire someone to help you do that. And it only takes, maybe 20 minutes a day to get your show out there, and just share it wherever you are allowed to.
Right. Oh, definitely. It doesn't take much. So you mentioned that a great thing to do is to start getting on podcasts. What are some of the ways that people can go about doing that? Because some might be thinking, okay, that's great. I looked at iTunes, I see all these podcasts out there, but then how do I go about doing that? How do I find the right ones to be on?
Well, you're most likely you want to talk on a podcast in the area that you are working. Duh. Right? So you're probably in a bunch of groups. Yeah. So you're probably in a bunch of groups that have those types of people in it. So you can simply just ask. You don't know who has a podcast in that group. You don't know who is connected to someone who has a podcast. Groups are very powerful, very powerful. People will respond to you. They're interested in, or if they know of something. These groups are very supportive and they want to help. That's really the reason why we have groups, is to support and help one another. So just by simply asking the question in a group, or ask someone where you can go. I mean, there is a bunch of great groups out there where you can just put your question out there and you're going to get an answer. I mean, you can also search podcasting in Facebook and you can find all of those groups too. A lot of them require you to be a podcaster, but not all of them do. So you can check that out as well. It's a simple search. Just check out podcast in Facebook in that little search bar at the top, and you're going to see what you can come up with. And there is a lot. Get in those groups and just state what you're looking for and ask for the help, ask for the support, and I'm sure you'll get it.
Oh, that's incredible. Because I think people want to overcomplicate things, where it's the Rube Goldberg version of it. Like, I must make this complicated method to do this simple process, versus just ask the darn question.
Right. Just ask. Simple again.
Right.
I like simple. That's what I do. I don't have time for complicated things. I really don't.
You mean you don't have more than 24 hours in the day to accomplish all these things?
No, I really don't. I try to squeeze it in, but yeah, I don't. Who wants to be spending all day doing that anyway? Don't you want to enjoy life and do some self-care and relax and spend time with your kids and your family and do fun stuff? Right?
No, not at all. I just want to be sitting at my desk working 24/7. That's it. That's all. No, never.
Oh man. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Simplify it, squeeze it into some time, and then go on with your day.
Right. You have to live life. I think that's where people tend to get bogged down in the notion of building a business, that it has to be 24/7. That you could easily do that, but then you can watch an entire year pass you by. You look up and go, wait, we just had Christmas. Like, well, yeah, that was 12 months ago. Now we're at it again. And think about how many people that happens to, and it quickly turns from a year to a decade, and they go, what happened?
Exactly.
And you want to build a business that's going to allow you to live life, because that's the most important thing, right?
Exactly, because if you're going to do it that way, you might as well just keep a 9-to-5 job where it's pretty simple. You go to work and you come home and you're done, right?
Right.
And that's what we're trying to avoid here. We want to create a life based on what we want, not what someone else wants.
Right, exactly. That's the most important thing. If you can build that life, now you have the time to spend it how you decide, versus someone dictating it. But the most important thing is you can decide how much you're worth.
Exactly. That's the key thing right there.
Because it happens too often that people discount their abilities. And they say, well, I want this security, I want this, instead of, well, just go for what you truly want. Because the only way you're going to know if you're going to succeed or not is to go do it.
Right, exactly. Take that chance. You never know what you're going to get.
Right, exactly. So when you're looking at the podcasts that you have, what's your vision for them? Because some people where they get stuck at it in terms of the content creation is they don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah, well, definitely you want to know why you're doing it. For the first podcast that I had that I still have, that was more of a hobby for me. For me breaking into podcasting and learning about myself. Like I said, I used it as a therapy. And if you listen to my shows, it kind of goes through that exactly. And I have some solo shows, I have some Facebook Live shows that I did, and I have a bunch of guest shows. So you kind of need to know where you stand. Are you using this as a business or are you using this as a hobby? The first one is a hobby, definitely is. And maybe one day I'll turn it into something because I definitely have a nice listenership right now. But I had moved on to the Passion to Pod podcast because that's what I teach. So I wanted to create another podcast. And this is the reason for this one. Everything that I teach is within that podcast as well. And I wanted to have a free resource for people who maybe can't afford to work with someone, or if they just wanted to kind of dip their toe in there and see what podcasting is all about. So that's the reason for the second one. The second one is business based, but it's also passion for me because I love it. And that's what makes it so exciting. So yeah, you got to really know why. Is it a passion or is it business? And how are you going to go about it? I mean, there's a lot more steps in there between, but that's the basic. I try to keep it as simple as possible.
Right. And it's really good that you have that resource there because I think that's the most valuable aspect about podcasting, or if you look at any type of resource in general, that anybody has access to the material today to learn. I did a live stream about that not too long ago, where I talked about there's no excuse why people can't do something, that if you look at just free resources from podcasts to TED Talks to YouTube to your public library, you have access to more information today than ever. So if you have something you want to learn, you can go about doing it.
Right, exactly.
That the only thing that stops us is our ability or the inability to take action upon it.
Right. There's so much stuff that we consume every single day, and we can't possibly remember it all. And it's you just got to take the action. That's really the missing step with a lot of people is we consume so much content and we don't act on it. We just say, oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. We can picture it happening in our lives, but then we don't take that step to make it happen. And
right.
That's where I come in to, push and to lead you in the right direction to actually get it complete.
Right. And think about how many people they've been saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but they've been doing that for years. And the only thing they have is a list of, I'm going us. And they've never done any of it.
Yes, it's like the ongoing list you just keep adding to.
Right. And it's ironic you bring up the term of lists because I talked about this today, that I don't believe in them. Because you think about what happens with a list. In most cases, you create the state of overwhelm because you never get through it. Like, oh my gosh, I barely made a dent. I'll write down 5 things or 5 outcomes I'm going to do for the day. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I go on 3. Yep.
I do 5 just because I'm competitive. I like to push myself a little bit.
I do 3 because I like it simple and I get overwhelmed easily. But yeah, whatever number works for you.
Right. That way, it's like, yes, I did it. Okay, now I'm done. I can go do whatever else. But you can apply it in so many different ways because when you keep it simple this way, it makes it easier. And some people would think, but aren't there more things involved with it? Well, yes, but these are the outcomes. For example, one of them was to conduct successful interviews today. Well, that was the only thing that's needed to be there because some things, well, duh, it's kind of a given that needs to be done, such as sending out the links for it, reviewing people's websites, all these other things that just go intangibly with it. But I don't need to write down every tiny little detail because if I did that, this list would be gargantuan of all the stuff that I need to be doing every single day.
You want to hear something funny, though?
Of course.
Sometimes I like to add little things to the list just to check them off because it feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's some stuff I have to like in terms of like on my calendar when I'm talking about productivity that I have to do, especially on busy days, is block off time to do things like eat because it's
Yes,
very easy to keep going like, why can't I concentrate? Oh wait, I forgot to eat. Oops. So you have to build
exactly.
it in.
I've gotten to the point where my butt goes numb because I don't get up.
There's a great way to. It's a simple little thing. I love the Apple Watch for it. It'll give me a little reminder to stand up every hour.
Isn't it crazy that we need a reminder to stand up? It's kind of funny.
Oh yes, but you think about when you're in the midst of something, you're just going, going, going. You can easily lose track of time. So this way, it's a problem like, oh wow, it has been an hour. I need to move around a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Because
important.
otherwise, you could be sitting like, why am I starving? Oh wait, the last time I ate was 7 hours ago. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Been
have to
there, done
do
that.
things. Yeah, so you have to do things to keep yourself going, which is really important because you think about building that online business, there's going to be those times that you're just working the long hours because there's no one else who's going to do it for you. It's like, yes, this has to be done. Who's going to do it? And you're looking around and your dog or cat looks at you like, not me, buddy. So you kind of have
Yeah.
to do it.
See, but on the flip side, it's nice that we can get through that and do that because we're excited about it and it's something that we're passionate about.
Right. Oh, definitely. You have to have that passion for anything and everything that you do.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's why this is just like it's calling me. I love it. It's just it keeps me going every day. Really does.
So what are the next things you want to make happen in terms of podcasting? Because you've accomplished so much to be able to start inspiring people to step up and create their own podcast.
The next thing, it's I'm not doing it yet because again, keep it simple, right? So I'm working with people doing one-on-ones, and eventually, actually very soon, I'm not sure when this podcast is going to go live, but I'm starting to do everything into a group now. Get everyone in a group so I can do more than just a couple at a time because I love that idea. But after that, I'm looking to help podcasters to see what are their needs after they have their show going. I want to be able to support podcasters. I want to be able to stay in that realm of podcasting and help them with whatever they might need, whether it be show notes or editing or specifically I love doing graphics, anything that has to do with design work. So trying to stick to that kind of thing. I don't want to make it super complicated. Again, simple, simple, simple. I have to constantly tell that to myself so I don't go off the deep end because I have so many ideas, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to really stay within that for now anyway. And,
Right.
who knows what'll happen down the road. Even in 6 months, I don't know what's going to happen, but I like to just keep it around there somewhere. But I really want to be able to touch people and help them. And I need to give the full attention so that they can get to where they want to get.
That's excellent because the more you can help people achieve their goals, the better. And even the simple things such as the show notes and the creating the artwork. For some people, they don't have a creative bone in their body. I like to say, like if in terms of creativity, like if it's stick figures, they're your person. But beyond that, not so much.
Yeah.
So when you can provide a solution to help them put out something of quality, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, it really does because it just takes so much off of them. I mean, I think of that with like my website. Like I like doing that stuff, but when it comes to the real techie stuff, I just hand it over to my website girl. I'm like, please help me. I don't want to know how to do it. Can you just do it for me? Just get it done.
Right. That's the key thing. You have to know where your strengths are because as an entrepreneur, one of the I'd say the challenges is that in the beginning we want to do everything ourselves. Like I'm going to learn how to do this. Like, well, why do that when there's people that know it backwards and forwards and can do it 100 times faster than you ever possibly could because you have a different set of talents and gifts. So why try to do something that you're not really talented at?
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's the challenge. But once people understand that if you focus on having people around you that can do the things that you're just not good at, you're going to have more time in your day. So instead of spending 6 hours trying to figure out how to do things simple, it might cost you, let's say, $15 to outsource it to someone someplace, but then you've got it done and you now have 6 hours of your day that's still available to you versus banging your head against the wall like, why won't this work? Oh, because you didn't put that one parentheses in that one spot there, and that was the simple fix.
Right, right. And plus you're helping someone out by, outsourcing. You're helping someone else.
Exactly, because the more you help people, it changes it, because we live in a world of a contribution society. So the more you can contribute to other success, the more people are contributing to yours as well.
Exactly. It comes right back to you.
Exactly. So that's what we have to do, is look at how can we constantly add value to other people's lives, because then everyone benefits.
Right.
So with that, as we begin wrapping everything up, what is one thing you recommend people to do if they're thinking about podcasting? What should they be doing?
Well, if they're thinking about podcasting, I suggest the first thing they do is start recording. Start playing with recording. I started playing with this app. Maybe you've heard of it since you are a podcaster. Have you heard of Anchor?
Yes.
You have. I love it. I started playing with it not that long ago because I'm running a challenge in my group, and I'm having them use that app so that they can just start recording in a simple way, and they can share their voice, because that's another thing people are afraid of, is their own voice. So just start recording. That is my number one thing. Start playing with your recording. If you have a Mac, GarageBand, if you have a PC, Audacity, or the other one. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Adobe Audition.
Adobe, yes. See, I don't use that one, so I don't think of that one. But either one of those two, just start playing.
Right. You just have to dive in, because it's the only way you're going to get good at it. And personally, I use Adobe Audition just because there's so much support with it. When I need to look at something, there's tutorials on every single function in the entire program. So there's never this, okay, I need to go search some forum out there to try to figure out the answer. No, Adobe has it all outlined.
Yeah, Adobe's good with all their stuff. So I can imagine how Adobe Audition is.
Oh yeah, I love it. It makes it super simple to do it all. I've looked at the others, and I have GarageBand, but then once I got used to Auditions, well, that's like going from driving a Ferrari down to a Honda or something. So you're like, yes, I can do all this stuff. To come on, you feel like the little engine that could. I think I can. Come on, go faster. So just those little adjustments.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming to the Big Movement Podcast today and sharing your wealth of wisdom about podcasting and how to get started. How can people reach out to you to learn more about podcasting and ultimately about your group and such?
Well, they can go right to the group if they want, because that's where I share pretty much everything. It's Passion to Pod, and that's the Facebook group. So Passion to Pod, or they can just go right to the website where it's got the entire program lined out so you can see what it is, and it's at my website, which is www.laurenjean.com.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'm sure they're going to have tons of value when they just dive in there.
Yep, there's lots of stuff there, so they can check that out. Those are the two places. I suggest the group first, because then you can actually connect with me in a much easier way.
Oh, excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.